Welcome back to another episode of Alaskan Rants, where some unsophisticated, uneducated guys get together and have a conversation. I'm back with my boy Josh.
What's happening?
We're just going to do a fun episode today and talk about. Well, Josh thinks, used to think hardcore Trump racist.
I used to think Trump was a hardcore racist in the beginning because of what he was doing with the, as we would say, the Mexicans or the people across the borders of certain places. Now, yes, I do think that Trump is a racist in a way, but I always say everybody in this world has a little bit of racism in them. Trump just happened to be the
That's
person.
a strong contrast difference from our last conversation.
It's very strong.
I'm just saying, your context and your attitude towards Trump is completely different.
It is because I
Okay.
did a little bit of research on Trump.
All right.
I did some asking some.
I'm just
questions,
saying, completely different. Even though you think he still might, he ain't 100% racist.
He ain't
no more.
100. He ain't 100%.
Okay,
I'm not on.
right?
I'm not
He
on
might be
100%.
50-50.
I don't even say a 50-50.
Okay.
I would say probably. I give Trump probably about a 30%.
30% racist.
30%.
70% not.
30%.
So that's a fucking crazy difference.
I
Bro,
mean,
I didn't
you
just
know.
change your mind from 100 to 0, dog. I changed your mind from 70-30.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. So that's a win for America, boys. Wrap it up. I'm going home. I changed one black man's life. All right. I am a winner. Right?
But yeah, after the research of of what I did, of reading on Trump and paying attention to certain things, Trump didn't really mean no harm with what he was trying to do. He was trying to make a difference in certain ways. A lot of people thought he was trying to be racist with the way he was doing it.
I don't know who started the cages, but the only one I know who stopped them, was Trump.
Mm-hmm. Trump did, and that's the thing that I got to read further more into about Trump. Do I think Trump is still cool in my book in a way? Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I followed Trump when I was a kid, from when he was, had all, like, he was one of the most richest men in the world, and he's got the towers and all that stuff. I was into that. He's in the tabloids. You remember I told you that I said Trump's wife, I thought personally she was a porn star.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Trump was always over at, what's the man's name with the
Playboy Bunny.
the Playboy Mansion.
Man, he died.
And he passed away. See, that was Trump's friend.
I don't even remember.
But that's why I like Trump, because Trump's always been who he is. He hasn't changed for anybody, and he's not going to change.
And how much has he done for the city of New York, though, bro? Like
I don't know.
He saved their ice rink, that iconic ice rink that's downtown New York that everybody skates on. They were having to close it down because nobody could figure out the cooling system in it. Right, it was costing too much money. It was always breaking down. He took it upon himself, a city's project, a city's job, paid for it, fixed it, maintained it.
And that's
Free of charge, dog. He didn't charge nobody.
right.
All right, that just came out of the goodness of his heart. He's done a lot of other things, right? Business owners and startup companies of people of all ethnic backgrounds. He gave them loans to start off, and then when they made it and had the money to pay him back, he would tear those checks up.
Right. He would.
That's gangster.
He just wanted to see if he was going to pay him back.
Yeah.
Trump ain't worried about the money. But now the legal actions that he's going through, I think that's because a lot of people want to stop Trump from doing what he's doing. Because Trump could be elected again if he really wanted to. If he wanted to go for it again. What is
Did
that
we actually?
word?
I mean,
What
he
is that
didn't even
word?
rape that chick, right? They all say he got convicted, 34 felonies or whatever, right? He didn't rape anybody. He barely, if they were even in the same place, right? Because if you've ever seen that chick, that Carol, whatever, Baskins, I think her name is, I don't really know. Right? Some kind of Karen, right? Came out and said, oh, you touched my nipple in 1842. What?
We should ask Trump, was he on Viagra when he did it?
He might have been. I don't know. He'd have been tripping balls or something,
But I don't think Trump did it, man.
How are you going to forget that wig? He always had that hair.
Yeah, he Trump ain't do it, man. But but that's besides the point. To get back on the subject. Yeah, you changed my mind. I'm 70% saying Trump is not a racist. 30% I feel that he is. And like I said before, and I stand on the 10 toes down on the concrete. Y'all mark my words. everybody in this world has a little bit of racism in them. Everybody. And I truly can hardly believe that.
That's why I'm close friends with you, bro.
Yeah, man, you really helped me change my mind because the time that I took to look into it, man, it was a big eye opener.
Man, it's about asking questions, bro. Right. People are scared to have a conversation, right? And a lot of white people, right, are cowards. Okay, and I know I've told you this before in private, but I'm gonna share it with the world, right? That I feel like if you really wanted to make like an incredible change, right, you can't rely on white people to make that change.
Right.
Okay? It's going to have to come down to you guys, right? Because not every white person is like me. You're going to come out and say, what's up? What's your story? Right? What happened to you when you grew up? Right? Like, that's the only way you can truly understand somebody. If you don't know how they were raised and grown up and can't have a talk about that in a conversation and understand from both perspectives of what's up, you can never bridge that gap of whatever transparencies might have happened to you while you were growing up, right? Because we all have those little stories of like, you know, oh, I was a little white boy, I got bullied, right? Oh, I was a black kid, they bullied me, right? Oh, he was racist, it was the white kid. No, man, I mean, growing up, for me, up here in Alaska, you know, it was rare that it was like that white black shit. Maybe if you got angry, right, shit came out of your mouth, dog. Because how else are you gonna shit talk? Right, because we're sitting here doing mama jokes all day. So of course, when you get in a fight, that mama joke goes to the next level.
But you know, we also got to understand too. It wasn't just us that were being bullied on too. It's a lot of other people. We have the natives. The natives are also racist as well, but they also been bullied too as well. We also have to say, you know, the people from Israel. You know, the people from other national places that is here. Alaska is one of the most diverse states there is.
We got Islanders, Filipinos, Koreans. I mean, like, everybody.
We got everybody.
Everybody.
So it's very rare when you run into a racist person here because you really got to go out soul searching for that.
You have to look for it,
You
bro.
have to go look for it.
Right?
You know what I mean? But like I said, I mean, every person has racism in them. You know what I mean? But here, it's like Alaska is just going to be one of the worst fighting places because everybody's being racist toward each other. It's not like that.
Well, I feel like even up here, you got majority of these white people, right, are scared of black dudes up here.
They are.
Okay?
They are.
And I know you see that being a big old black motherfucker.
And it's the only reason.
You're a goddamn giant, Josh.
The only reason why it's like that is because of how small this place is, how small this state is. You know, there's nothing where we have space.
Nope.
We don't have space. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is imagine if we were in the state. Imagine if we're in the States, right? And it's just nothing but big space. You know, everybody is not so cluttered. You know what I mean? Everybody's moving around. Hello, how you doing? But they can keep going. But then here, it seems like we're just so cluttered together. People are going to be nervous, like, oh, they're too close, something's going to happen. Or, oh, they're too close and I'm going to do... Yeah, people are going to be scared. I mean, look at our crime rate. You know what I mean? How's our crime rate worse than Chicago?
Well, that's because we get bored up here, bro.
We get way too bored.
Why don't they bring some shit up here for us to do?
They won't.
They won't. Well, it's
actually, I take that back.
You get artists up here? Rarely.
I take that back. What they're doing in the valley right now, I like what they're doing.
What are they doing in the valley? State Fair?
No, they're taking up a lot of the land and building new stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking their expansion.
They're expanding.
Yes. So that's kind of crazy because it's like my whole life I've been Anchoragetonian.
Right.
You know? Like, fuck valleys, dirty syphilis people over there. You know what I mean? Like, you got, you know, the Kenai slums. Right. It's just like, man, you got a lot of hate from Anchorage.
You do.
But now I'm looking at the valley. And I'm like, man, like everybody out there is a patriot. I never have to run into a Democrat, right? Because you're never going to see them out there. Everybody's out there is a man's man, really. You know, we're out four-wheeling, hunting, fishing, you know, come over to the house for a barbecue. Let's hang out. You need help cutting your moose up, right? The Alaskan spirit, you get that as soon as you get out into the valley. But when you're in town, it's a completely different game.
It's a way.
It feels like a big city. It feels like when you go down to, you know, Atlanta or Philadelphia or Boston, right? Like or Chicago. I don't really go to Chicago, dog. I'm white, but
I don't go to Chicago and I'm black.
Damn.
I'm cool.
He said, I'm cool.
I'm cool. I'm not going to O Block.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know what O Block is, y'all should look that up. It's a lot of history on that place.
Well, you know, my wife makes fun of me because she's like, "You're a pussy," and I'm like, "No, you don't understand my role as your husband. Okay, my role as your husband is to be a protector, and if I see or sense that this is a threatening place that I can't enjoy myself because I'm gonna have to be on guard the entire time, why the fuck are we going there?"
Right.
Right, which is pretty much everywhere in the world now. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, let's go to, overseas anywhere because you got like Germany going into riots, right? You got Poland going into riots. You got Venezuela going into riots. So that like no matter what part of the country you go to, I don't think I'd ever step foot in Russia just in case because much as whatever they're going on, I wouldn't trust them with an American right now, right? Same thing with China. Wouldn't be going to China. If anything, I'm going over to Japan. Japan is awesome. Japan's love us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Throw 2 bombs on them. They never forget.
Right.
I'm just, I don't know. I think we squashed that bug. We've shook hands and said, yo, mistakes were made on both parts.
Right.
Right. That ultimate fight and recovery. Right. They fought it out. They blew up, Pearl Harbor. We blew up 2 cities.
Right.
Okay. Then we were like, I think we've had enough.
Yeah, we're done.
Let's have a beer.
Right.
Let's talk this out.
Right.
Come over to my house.
Right.
Right. And I think we're cool now.
Yeah, and we are good.
I don't know. I don't know many Japanese people, so like I'm speaking for Americans.
I know a lot of them, man. I know a lot of them, and they all good folks, man. They're all good folks. They all good folks, man. So let me ask you this, Marcus. What do you think on how we can get these kids and these adults into trying to change this range view voting?
Rank choice voting.
Oh, rank? Is it rank or range?
Rank.
Rank.
See, that's how much you're learning.
Rank.
RCV.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I say RCV enough that I never told you what the R stands for.
Well, I'll say RCV.
But that's a perfect example on how the state has not educated anybody in the state.
Yeah.
Okay, they spent all this money on investing education and understanding and getting people to understand how to vote. And then the people that don't communicate or don't vote back don't get heard from because they don't go vote. And then you're like, oh, everybody knows how to use ranked choice voting. Okay, I'm going to go out and ask 10 people on the street. Nobody's heard of it. They can't even name it. Just a prime example of that. Okay, they can't name who the mayor is. They can't name who senators or congressmen or even at a federal level, are congressmen and senators now. They can't name them. And they're in the public news all the time.
Right.
Right? Because they're federal level employees. And it's really crazy. So ranked choice voting not only costs more per election by 325 times than previous elections prior to 2020 when we implemented it into our voting systems when we voted it in, right? So they got me, right? I thought it was supposed to be a cheaper, faster way, let's find out because I was tired of I don't know what I was tired of. Just want to change. Maybe this will be changed. They sold me, right? Now we're 2024. It's been implemented into 2-3 elections now.
Yeah.
Every time we rent the machines in for elections, it costs the state $4.4 million, which is a normal election would cost between 1.6, 1.8 million, right? Now they're saying this is a cheaper way to elect, but then just voting the machines, taking out everything else that's crazy about it, it costs $4.4 million.
Right.
And we got the receipts for this. It's not like this is state receipts.
No, it's
money.
state receipts. Yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
Phil Eison with 907 Alaska or 907 Honest. He's up here in Alaska. He started the initiative to repeal it, ranked choice voting, because his grandfather he didn't understand what to do.
Right.
And this is, an older guy's been voting his whole life. A super voter is what they call him. Never missed an election.
Because everybody's used to circling
the one vote, one vote, one person.
One person.
Right? Same day results, same day elections. Right? I guess I didn't get the memo.
And then every time when they did use the machine, there was always a problem. Oh, we got to do a recount. Oh, well, we didn't get this machine, and this machine has failed and faulted, and it's not working. And it's come on, man.
Well, you know what's crazy with all like the machines not working and everything is that when they do a recount, they use the machines.
Right? Yeah.
Because if you were to have a person or a group of people actually physically count ranked choice ballot voting out, I can't remember the exact number, but if you ask ChatGPT how long it would take to do a recount in a place like Anchorage, Alaska, right? It was like they would need 60 people at 18 hours a day for 69 days or something working, that amount of hours just to be able to do the first round of voting.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have like 4 more rounds and it only gets more complicated.
It does.
It's so confusing.
It does.
Right. And that's why we have our first Democrat elected in Congresswoman, Democrat Mary Peltola.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She didn't even win a majority of the votes, even though they say she did. Because how do you know when you can't explain to me how the 4th and 5th people that got run off, right, how their votes got put up into an account? Because it's like you look at the math, it's like 2 votes go here, 3 votes go here, 1 vote goes here, 2 votes go here, 3 votes go here. Who came up with who gets what number off of that?
Right.
Right. And so then what happens is that they call it your ballot exhausted. Right? You know what your exhausted ballot means? Do you know what that means?
I know a little bit about it. I'm not really educated on that.
Doesn't count.
Right.
That means your ballot doesn't count. That means your vote doesn't count.
Right.
So then why did you vote?
And that's how I feel sometimes. But you did change my mind on the voting.
And you should vote.
So I am going to vote.
And everybody should vote because it empowers you to make changes. When you have an election like we have for our mayors that was just recently up, 30% of voters show up. 70% of voters didn't participate. Okay? This gets split 16-14 because you have 30%. That means that the mayor was elected in by 16% of the majority of Anchorage. In what universe is 16% a majority of anything?
Yeah. That's like saying, hey, I need a vote of people to raise your hand, and one person raised their hand, and they're like, oh, well, we won. And it's like, come on, man, stop it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was talking about.
That's just, hopefully they can make a change and fix that. You know what I mean? Because I would love to see same voting the same day and counting the same day and see who wins that.
And that's what's cool about ranked choice voting and talking to other people about it is you don't even have to understand it.
Right.
Because it's so fucking confusing. Okay? All you have to do is say, did you know that elections now cost 325% more than previous elections? Right? That's simple. Right off the rip, why are we paying 325 percent more than we're paying in previous elections? Second is, it's really confusing. Why do we want to do this for the rest of our lives? Why do we want to put our children through this for the rest of our lives?
Right.
And the third is, don't you miss knowing who was elected the same day?
I do.
1 vote, 1 person, same day elections, same day results. There is no reason how all these other countries around the world can count up ballots at levels way higher than ours by hand, faster, and know by the end of the night than all of our states combined. It's embarrassing.
It is, but it's gonna take time for all that to come and get fixed. You know what I mean? It's
got
gonna
90
take time.
days,
and we do have 90 days, and we can vote. But see, this is my thing though. My thing is that nowadays with everything with technology, I think that they're trying to keep up with the Joneses with it. They don't really care about what people really feel about the same day voting. It's all about technology because they're feeling like, oh, well, if we have these many people counting, then we're giving out man hours. See, I look at it like as a man hours of like the money they're forking out to pay the people.
Oh, so you think it's like a money grab?
I think it's a money grab.
Right? So the more people you have on it, the longer they're in. Well, that's what it basically already is because the state doesn't own any of these machines.
No.
So they're paying out third party.
Exactly.
Right? So they're making money on every election. They're
Correct.
coming up on us.
Right.
A federal election, local election, don't matter. somebody's coming up on the state, and it ain't us. Okay, the state don't own that shit.
Exactly.
Right. I feel like it's not only money grab, but it's also a way to hide steal.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas if you had a paper ballot and you had to go sign that paper ballot and you had to show an ID to get that ballot, okay, now you're having all of these security checks, multiple verifications, right? I don't see what's up with that.
I look at
You
it
know what
like,
I mean? I don't think there's a problem with it. I don't see why people have a problem with it, but yet they're like, oh, we can't. Like, I don't want. We house what 10,000 different immigrants here for asylum. Okay, they should not be voting in any of our elections, local or federal. They're not even citizens, right? The only people that should be able to vote in our new elections are maybe these like 10 people that just got their citizenship the correct way, do the system, put the time in, put the paperwork in, prove they wanted to assimilate. Because I do not think that immigration without assimilation, right? So if you don't assimilate, okay, then it's an invasion. And an invasion leads to your annihilation. When you don't have a secure border, right, then you don't have Americans guarding anything. Right? They got a fence up on the White House. They got a fence around the court buildings and the federal buildings, right? They put fences in all these little areas around Washington, D.C. You have millionaires with fences around their house. Why do we put fences up if we're not keeping people out? Okay? And I have nothing wrong with the immigration process of coming to America, but you have to come to America to assimilate to our values. We're just not going to let you, this is the land of the free. You want to be free with us, then you're going to assimilate. We got a bunch of different races here. We got a bunch of different religions. You're not going to come in and start whooping up on one other religion or, vice versa. You're not going to come up and start doing some race shit. We don't put up with that. You can't come up here and do gang stuff. We're not going to let you be a citizen in the United States if you're a criminal. Right? Like, I don't understand what's so hard to get behind that.
Well, what's hard about, in my opinion, what's hard for them to get behind that is for the fact that they look at it like it's a waste of their time. That's how I feel.
Border security?
I feel like that is like it's a waste of their time. Because right now they're more worried about what the revenue can bring in. You know what I mean? And
human trafficking is $1 billion business.
It's $1 billion business. And if the state or the city or whoever it may be behind the back scenes of all this, they do get a little portion of that.
Oh, I believe it.
They know who's doing what. They're not dumb. They're not dumb at all. They know what they are doing. A lot of these senators and a lot of these people get voted in, or they get their, what do you call it, their committee. A lot of that's coming from a lot of drug money. You know what I mean? And that's actual facts of people really, really, really sit back. Like a lot of people, I tell people this all the time, and I've heard this numerous of times.
Well, CIA is
we really, the government itself really bargains with people with weapons, drugs, money, gold, you name it.
That's that CIA though.
They've
been selling that shit for me.
And they've been doing it for years and ages on end, and they're not going to stop. Now the new thing is trafficking. That's the new thing. Because they know when they can bring these people over, because they're not on paperwork, they have to work. They're gonna bring in my revenue.
Now you got workers in here in the States just working for you.
That's it.
Paying off debt because they don't know anything different because they never lived in a free country. So they don't know what they can actually have.
They don't know.
And
they don't want to. And so that's why I say I feel like they don't care. They're not really going to try to stop it. Trump was trying to stop it, and that's what pissed a lot of people off.
So let me throw this out here. And I don't know if this is true or not because I don't know how the education systems work in foreign countries. But hypothetically speaking, because I don't know the facts on this, so I'm going to speak out my ass. If our kids that are graduating high school right now from, let's say, Gen Z, 18 to 27, a bunch of dumbass kids, right? But they're educated, okay? Can't make it in the United States. What is the education level of a 17 to 28-year-old coming across the border look like? And if our kids that are supposedly educated can't make it in the United States, how do 30 million people that aren't educated and don't have the schooling or understanding going to make it in the United States?
Those are the ones that they're trafficking.
Yeah, but how would they make it other than working for a slave?
They don't
we
know.
just brought 30 million slaves into America.
They don't know the difference. Now the kids overseas and all those other places, like let's say for instance, okay, let's say China. China got a lot of smart kids. Look at China. Even though we have problems with China, China has a lot of smart kids.
So they invest in their future.
They invest in their kids' future. But
they don't give them a choice either.
And you know what's crazy? They're not trafficking none of them.
No.
You know what they're trafficking is the kids that don't have nothing. Oh, okay. Your where you stay doesn't have any water. You don't have no food. You don't have this. Just like those little commercials, 10 cents will feed such and such. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That 10 cents ain't going to that child. Because if that 10 cents was going to that child, don't you think you guys can upgrade where they're at? But instead, no, you take that child, and I truly believe this, you take that child and you bring that child over here and say, this is the life you're going to live, but you have to work this off. But then what are they gaining from it?
Nothing, because they just work in a sweatshop.
Nothing. They're working in a sweatshop, and then you get to walk outside and look around and go, oh, wow. But then they got to come right back. And if they don't come back, then what are you going to do? You're going to take that child, and then you're going to send that child back to where they started at.
100%. And that's why we need Trump back in office, dog. I'm down for the deportation, right? Day one. Let's get all these people out. Let's find where the lines are drawn, right? We don't need a bunch of third parties in here that they're going to get free health care to. Draining our, you think Social Security drains our taxes. You think that these Green New Deals are suffering and suffocating us, right? No, it's these immigrants are bankrupting cities that they hit because they can't afford to take care of them.
They can't. And
if your population is only 300,000,
right,
and you're only supporting 300,000, and your infrastructure is only set up for, let's say, 330,000 because of growth, right? And then I drop 60,000 people in your city.
But those 60,000 people are the ones that ain't gonna have nothing.
No, but they do, because now I'm gonna give them all the hotels. I'm gonna pay for their food, right? So now they're actually giving the city a boost of income because the government's paying them our tax money. Right? But the city's losing money, even though they're putting back into the economy. That money's just going back into people's paychecks and, product sales.
Yeah, you're right.
You
make a point with that.
And it's going right back into the government's pocket.
You make a point with that. You make a very good, valid point with that. And I can see where you're coming from with it, too, as well. And that's, if we could change these young kids' ways of voting to fix those things, and actually help to make a difference, I think we can make it be just fine.
I don't want to black pill people and come out with the scare tactic, right?
No, it's not a scare tactic.
No, but we need to scare them to understand that this isn't a 20-year problem. This is next year's problem.
But see, we shouldn't even have to do that. Because it should be up to the schools and the people, but they're not going to do that.
Preach that.
But they're not going to do that.
No.
They don't want these kids to know the value of what more they can really, really make for themselves. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's why I'm telling you, a lot of this just has to do with revenue and money. Like I've always this is how I was raised. Always
follow the money.
Money revolves around the world. You know what I mean? Everybody wants money. You got some of those who are lucky. You got some of those who are not. You got some of those who were born with a silver spoon, and you got those who wasn't. The ones that were born with silver spoons, those are the ones, okay, well, I know how to do it, but I got mom and daddy because they got the money. But then you got the ones that wasn't born with it. Those are the ones that are really trying, so they want to learn, but then they keep that from them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You keep this value information from these kids because you want to keep all the money in your pocket.
Well,
instead of letting everybody make it.
They have that saying, right? That whoever controls the money, whoever controls the money controls the government. Right?
Correct.
And then what do they do after they control the government? Now you got Bill Gates in China buying all the farm. Because how do you control the people? You control the food.
You control the food.
Okay, so whoever controls the food controls the people.
Right.
Okay, whoever controls the money controls the government.
Right.
And that's how it's been through history. And now we're just giving up our farmland, right? I've been seeing these dumbass quotes on our post on different platforms of people like, why do we need farms? I have a Safeway next door. Like,
That you sound foolish. They sound foolish when they say that. No, we need these farms because that's
where
what's
did you
funding
think your food came from?
Your food's coming from farms and it's going into Safeway for you to go to Safeway to get the food.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Simple, easy.
But this is the thing. A lot of these people that are actually these rich people that are buying the farms, that is controlling it. Now they're changing it because now it's not even natural no more. They're taking their money now and they're like, oh, so we can go ahead and we can make plastic meat.
And plastic food. You seen that? You seen those bananas that people bend and shit? And the oranges that like putty?
Did you know if you take a McDonald's French fry and light it on fire, it actually stays lit?
Yeah.
I did not know hot Cheetos was made with lighter fluid. You could take a hot Cheeto and light it on fire and hold it just like this. And that hot Cheeto will not burn down. It's just going to stay lit.
That's crazy. I never knew that. I never tried that.
Yeah. It's going to stay lit.
Damn. I don't eat Cheetos, though, so.
Man, it's just things like that. Like, it's not all natural no more because they're taking it because they're finding ways to expand it to make more money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I said, it's all about the revenue and the money. And of course, they're going to control that. Now, does the government have their hand in the big old pot? They do. Because now the government could be like, hey, we could pull this person over here and we could tell them to do this. And if they don't do it, we could use the higher upper people of what we got, like the CIA, or we could do a
name the man, find the crime. That's how they do it now.
Yeah.
Instead of you committing a crime.
They could find a man to commit the crime.
Right? They just say, give me a name, I'll find you a crime. Which is not how we should be running America.
No, we should not be running America like that.
I think that's why innocent until proven guilty. Not you're guilty, prove your innocence.
And I think that's why they're mad at Trump, why they tried to get Trump like that. It wasn't because of what Trump was saying.
After fail,
but it wasn't what he was saying. It's because Trump was not giving you his money. And Trump was giving us money. You know what I mean?
You heard that mobster talk, right?
I did my research, Marcus.
Did you see that mobster one I sent you where the mobster said...
I can't remember vaguely. It was so wild.
Man, he's like, man, I tried to give Trump money so many times to get deals done, because I was in construction in New York. And if you wanted to get some stuff done, you had to go through Trump. You know what I mean? So I'd butter up and get up next to him. But he's like, you can never get Trump because Trump would just hire like a bunch of ex-FBI guys to be his like... watchdogs,
right?
You know what I mean? So it's like you can never hand him money because I got this guy over here who rat on me. I got this guy over here who rat on me, right? So I'm never going to be tempted to do anything because I got other people here that have already been in this, business and law enforcement. So he's surrounded him by, people that were going to say, "Yo, you can't do that."
Right? You can't.
Yep, you can't do that.
And that's why they're mad at Trump.
Hey, you can't do that, right? Like even if you didn't know, I would love someone to be able to be like, "Oh, yo, this is a really bad decision. Don't do that. You're going to regret this later on in life. It might look good now. It might be legal now, but then this is coming with a string attached."
And this I've always thought about this too. And I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to blow smoke out my ass. But I wouldn't even say a theory. I want everybody to actually sit back and really think about it. When COVID hit and Trump gave everybody all that money, do you think right now the way Biden is, do you think if Biden was in office at that time, do you think that we would get money? Do you think Biden would do the same thing Trump did? Of course not.
Never would have got money.
That's why they mad at Trump, because Trump took a lot of that money and gave it to the people that needed that money.
100%.
And that's why they're mad at him, because he took a big chunk of that money that was going in those people's pockets. That's why they're taxing. I'm learning, Marcus.
Yeah.
That's why they're taxing us higher with certain percentages, because they want to get that money back.
Yeah, because they don't want us to ever have a chance to feel like we can go somewhere in life.
Right, and we're in debt.
Oh, so that's $35 trillion.
Man, and we just borrowed more money.
And we just gave Ukraine $1.6 billion today.
1.6 billion? Man, come on.
Billion, dog, with a B.
Billions.
So this is a great spot to wrap up this episode here because we got more coming at you. But Trump 2024, go vote in your local elections. Let's repeal ranked choice voting. Vote yes this November, and we'll catch you next time on Alaskan Rants.